we've got Dan here from Ohio. Pronouns are he, him, and he's saying that the DNA of octopi is so different than every other DNA that it lends credence to panspermia. Hey Dan, how's it going?
Hey folks, did you just say I'm from Ohio?
It said that, yeah.
Oh, that's
Oh, Canada.
Oh,
So
this is
novel.
Canada. Okay, well, wherever you're from, hello.
Ohio, Canada.
This is great. I was going to call you neighbor as well, but now I'm not going to.
Anyhow, no politics.
Go ahead, Dan.
I am calling to talk about alien ideas. And so I know you said you're not geneticists or biologists, but if you look at an octopus and the things it can do, and it is so incredibly unlike any other creature on Earth, that it just seems to indicate that maybe there is other sources of life other than random generation on Earth. And do you think that the octopus being so weird could be evidence of that, divergent evolution on a planet from something very different?
You know what?
Octopi just are weird.
I mean, there are plenty of weird creatures, right? There are some creatures that look like mammals, have beaks like ducks, and lay eggs, and have poison spines. There are some creatures that have hundreds of legs, and there are some creatures that only have a couple. There are lots of weird creatures. Would I like it to be kind of some sort of evidence that maybe there's something out there? Absolutely. I'm a big fan of us not being the only life in the entire universe, or maybe even in just the Milky Way galaxy. Is it something like 200 or 100 billion stars in the Milky Way galaxy, and each star could have a set amount of planets, and some of those planets could be in the habitable zone. And there's something like 200 million possibilities for planets having some kind of life on there. Absolutely, I'm all for that. Do I know that to be the case? Absolutely not. Would I like octopuses to have traveled on a comet or asteroid or something and bumped into Earth and their DNA landed here, and that's why we have octopi? Absolutely, I'd love it. Is there anything to suggest really at the moment? I don't know. What do you think, Drew?
Yeah, I think similar to where you're coming from. I mean, I love the idea. I kind of hope that they did come from alien life from some other planet or some other part of the universe or something like that. Like, that sounds really fucking cool. I'm not in any way opposed to that being true, or feeling a compulsion to discredit it, or that can't be. That said, I do have to ask, right? And I haven't dug into it a lot, so I confess my ignorance here. But things that I would want to ask myself if and when I was looking deeper into it is, obviously there's the whole category of, cephalopods, right? There's cuttlefish, there's squid, right? There's nautilus there. And then there's beyond that, there's mollusks. I don't think mollusks are cephalopods, but then, from there, I would be interested to look at, okay, so are there other connections that go beyond that whole category where it does connect back further? My inclination is, if there is this whole movement of people that theorize that octopi may come from another alien origination, I would give them the benefit of a doubt and say, well, clearly they've looked into it, and there must appear to be a huge disconnect between cephalopods and all the rest of the animal kingdom. That said, I find that I'm kind of skeptical that that's the case. I would think we would find some kind of connection. But there must not be one, or why would you conclude that aliens must be involved? So those are just some of the questions that I would look to. And I'm curious, Dan, if you have answers to those. Are there any connections? Are we sure that they're completely disconnected from the rest of the animal kingdom?
And
why not cephalopods as a whole? Why specifically just octopi?
From the vague amount of research I have personally done, octopi were the ones that came up with the unique and distinct behaviors and tendencies that were unusual compared to other similar creatures. I'm a layperson looking at things I've heard and read online. So, I mean, you know.
I would suggest, Dan, reaching out to some folks who know about this stuff. Forrest is on quite a lot on the ACA. Whenever he's here, I would absolutely call into him. He will probably lose his mind and want to talk about it for hours because he gets so excited by this kind of thing. So I absolutely suggest giving Forrest a call when he's on one of our shows.
Yeah. But it's a great question.
It is.
And I love the idea. And so for me personally, I have a hard time believing that there wouldn't be some form of life beyond Earth. How could there not? Right. So the idea that, and I know some people were talking earlier on it with another caller about, well, where did life come from? I mean, there is an argument that a fairly significant amount of people make that life on Earth comes from other planets. Now, where does life itself come from? Well, that doesn't help with that, but some would argue that, right? I love the idea. I don't see it's implausible, but I also don't see evidence for it either. And so as we're seeking the truth that is wanted, those are questions that I think we need to deal with, grapple with, and think through. But I love that yourself as a layperson, self-professed layperson that you are, I love the curiosity. I love the curiosity and I love the conversation. So thank you.
Yeah. Hopefully that helps a little bit, Dan.
Well, I appreciate the directions for further questioning, and maybe I'll call back when Forrest is on and blow his brain with this idea.
I'm going to want to watch that call because I could just, all I can imagine is Forrest just losing his mind and being so excited.
I am curious, Dan, just out of curiosity, is this a topic, a line of questioning and thought, whatnot, that you are kind of more or less convinced of? Like, do you believe that octopi originate from another planet or another part of the universe? Or is this sort of just a fun thought experiment that you stumbled upon and wanted to toss it out for a little playful banter? How convinced are you of it?
I think that there's more to it than just simple playful banter.
Sure.
I think that from what I've looked into the life cycle of the octopus and some of the things it does naturally, it's just incredibly unique, like alien unique in my limited view. So maybe it did come from somewhere else. Maybe it's in the ocean. We know so little about what's under the surface of the ocean that something could easily just land there and be next to everything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's definitely a question that I would like to hear more answers to. I'm not in any position to answer anymore on it, unfortunately, Dan.
Well, like I said, I just wanted to bring it to you folks, and I've got another direction to bounce off questions and other hosts harangue. So thank you so much. And
Absolutely.
I'll let you guys get back to it.